Can a team win a final, on the pitch, in front of 60,000 people in extra time, and still lose the trophy? Apparently yes. 3 months after Senegal beat Morocco 1-0 in the Afcon 2025 final, CAF's appeals board has overturned the result. Morocco have been awarded a 3-0 victory. The trophy Sadio Mane lifted in Rabat, the trophy the Senegalese government celebrated, has been handed to the team that lost the match. Senegal's government has called it corrupt, illegal, profoundly unjust. Senegal has refused to return the trophy, and Morocco's coach, the man who was sacked 2 weeks ago for not winning Afcon, is now, technically, an African champion. This has never happened before in major football, not once. And the way it happened tells you something important about where African football actually stands right now. Let's get into it. Quick context for anyone who missed the final. January 18th, Morocco hosting in Rabat, score 0-0 in the 99th minute. A penalty is awarded to Morocco after a VAR review, moments after VAR had stayed silent on an incident that cost Senegal a goal. Senegal's players walked off the pitch in protest for roughly 10 to 15 minutes. They came back. Brahim Diaz tried a panenka. Edouard Mendy caught it standing still. Pape Gueye scored in extra time. Senegal won 1-0. We covered the full breakdown of that night in a previous video. Link in the description. What we are talking about today is what happened after. What happened this week, because that is the story nobody saw coming. Morocco appealed the result shortly after the final. Their case rested on a specific Afcon regulation, one that states a team which withdraws from or abandons a match forfeits that match 3-0. Senegal's players walked off the pitch. Morocco argued that constituted abandonment under the rules. The CAF Appeals Board, sitting 3 months after the final, agreed. Result overturned. Senegal declared to have forfeited. Morocco awarded the title 3-0. On a narrow reading of that specific rule, Morocco's argument is not completely without basis. The regulation exists. Senegal did walk off. The board applied it. The regulation Morocco cited was written for a specific situation. A team that refuses to play at all. A protest over something that happened before kickoff. Situations where there is no result because there is no completed game. Senegal came back. They played the remaining time. They won in extra time. Every single minute of that match was played, officiated, and concluded with a final whistle and a scoreline. Applying a forfeit rule to a match that finished, that had a goal, extra time, a result, and a winner, is something that has no parallel anywhere in international football. Not in Afcon history. Not in the World Cup. Not in any UEFA or CONMEBOL competition. This is the first time in the history of major football that a completed final has been overturned, and the trophy handed to the losing team months later. Wayne Rooney, who has no stake in any of this, said what most football people feel instinctively. It ends on the pitch. And yet here we are. The timing problem. There is one more detail that matters. Morocco's coach Walid Regragui was sacked 2 weeks ago. The official reason was that Morocco had not won Afcon. 2 weeks later, Morocco are Afcon champions. Whether that sequence means anything, whether it is coincidence or something else, is a question people are already asking loudly on social media. We are not going to answer it for you, but we are not going to pretend it isn't part of the conversation either. Before we go further, let's be honest about the other side. Senegal walked off the pitch in a final. That is not disputed by anyone. The argument for the ruling goes like this. If you allow teams to abandon a pitch, even temporarily, even if they return, without any consequence, you have handed every team in every future final a weapon. Disagree with a referee decision, walk off. Make your protest, come back, win the match, collect the trophy. If that goes unpunished, what stops the next team? And the team after that? At some point, the governing body has to draw a line. Rules are only rules if they are enforced. There is a version of this argument that is genuinely about protecting football, not about politics, not about which region benefits, not about backroom deals, just about the principle that players cannot hold a match to ransom and face zero consequences. The governing body cannot simply ignore it. Processing the appeal, even if the outcome is unpopular, is arguably the more legitimate path than dismissing it without process. So the ruling has a logic, it has a framework, it has a procedural explanation. The problem is what that framework completely ignores. Senegal did not walk off because they were frustrated with the score. They walked off because of a specific sequence of refereeing decisions in the 99th minute of a final, decisions that reviewed a penalty for Morocco. Minutes earlier, VAR had not reviewed an incident that directly cost Senegal what looked like a legitimate goal. Same technology, same match, two completely different standards of intervention. One of the most astute comments circulating right now came from someone who put it simply, "We wouldn't be at this stage if it weren't for the incompetence of the referee in the final." The best way to redeem yourself would have been to simply ignore the VAR review of the penalty. That is the root of everything that followed. The walk-off, the appeal, this ruling, the international embarrassment. African football is currently living through, and here is the question, CAF's ruling completely sidesteps. Why has the team that responded to the refereeing been punished, while the refereeing that caused the response faces zero scrutiny? No referee has been sanctioned. No review of the officiating has been published. The inconsistency that created the entire crisis has not been addressed. CAF punished Senegal for reacting. CAF has said nothing about what they were reacting to. The pattern. We raised this in our video on the final in January. Controversial referee decisions in Afcon matches involving North African teams, Egypt, Algeria, Morocco, Tunisia, with outcomes that consistently seem to favour the North African side. We said at the time that we couldn't definitively call it bias, we still can't. What we can say is that the full sequence of events in this story, Morocco hosting, a penalty awarded under immense crowd pressure, Senegal walking off, Morocco losing anyway, Morocco appealing, 3 months passing, the trophy changing hands, is a sequence that African football fans are going to be analysing for years. Each individual step has an explanation. The full picture is harder to explain away. Senegal is taking this to CAS, the Court of Arbitration for Sport. CAS is independent of CAF. They are not bound by CAF's reading of its own rules. They can assess whether a forfeit regulation designed for abandoned matches was correctly applied to a match that was completed, went to extra time, and produced a winner. If CAS rules in Senegal's favour, this entire ruling collapses. Africa will have had 2 official Afcon champions in the same year. The reputational damage to CAF and to African football's standing globally will be significant. If CAS upholds the ruling, Senegal will have to return the trophy they won on the pitch. And the question of whether African football's governance is fit for purpose will become impossible to avoid. Either way, Afcon 2027 is 18 months away, and the people who are supposed to be running it just created a crisis that has the Senegalese government calling them corrupt in public statements. So here is where we land. CAF had a rule. Senegal broke it, briefly in protest, with what most people watching considered a legitimate grievance. They came back, they played, they won. 3 months later, the trophy moved. There are really only 2 ways to read what just happened. Either African football has governing bodies strong enough to enforce their regulations even when the outcome is deeply uncomfortable, and that consistency is worth something, even when a specific ruling feels wrong. Or African football has governing bodies that apply their rules selectively, in ways that consistently benefit certain interests, and dress it up as process. Only one of those is a foundation you can build a sport on. Someone in the comments under a post about this put it in a way that's going to stay with me. 3 things you cannot hide: the sun, the moon, and the truth. I want to know which truth you think this ruling is hiding. Was CAF right? Was Senegal right? And the question underneath both of those: does African football have a governance problem, or just a ruling nobody is comfortable with? Drop your answer in the comments. Be specific, because the people on the other side of this are going to push back. The full breakdown of what happened on the night of the final, the walk-off, the panenka, the referee decisions that started all of this, is in our previous video. Link in the description. Watch it back with what you now know and tell me if it changes how you see that night. Subscribe. When the CAS ruling comes, we will be back.